discussing the different types of najasat, and what we are going to be discussing today is uh, the droppings and the dung of animals, right? That we're going to be doing in detail today. So, what? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وإن أصاب الثوب من الروث أو من أخساء البقر أكثر من قدر الدرهم. We did do this part yesterday, but we're just doing it. If it afflicted or it soiled a cloth, من الروث is also like the dung of animals. And then the next word, min akhta. Akhta also means, normally a routh referred to dry dung, right? Oh, min akhta. Akhta will be wet dung, right? Aktharu min qadri dirhami. So the soiled area is more than the amount of a dirham, right? Lam tajuri salatu fihi in the Abi Hanifata. So salah will not be correct. Why salat will not be correct? Because this is just an extension of the principle we mentioned earlier that najasat ghaliza, the heavy type of najasat, if the soiled area is more than a dirham, then it will be necessary, it is for us to remove it. Until you do not remove it, the salah will not be correct. So this is just an extension of the previous usul that we discussed, right? So that is right. So lam tajus salatu fihi in the Abi Hanifata. Why? Why do we say it is najis? Why do we say that it renders the cloth najis? Why? لأن النص في نجاسته, because the text that is narrated في نجاسته with regards to being najis, وما روي, it is what has been narrated أنه عليه السلام, that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam رمى بالروثة, he threw the dung. So remember we mentioned this yesterday, that once Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted to relieve himself, and he asked one Sahabi, Ibn Mas'ud, to bring some cloud of earth so he can cleanse himself. Then he brought two clods of clay, and he brought a piece of dung. So Nabi Sallam threw it, and he said, Hada richtun, this is filth. So that's our proof to show you that the dung, the droppings of the animal, it is najis. It is najas ghaliza, right? That's what he's saying there. Rama bi rawthati, right? As well, qala hada richsun. He said either hada richsun or hada riksun. This is filth. Then lam yu'aridhu ghayruhu. Nothing contradicts it. That's what he's saying here. He says, look here, there's only one type of text that is found with regards to dung, and that it is najis. And we mentioned this principle. I told you, if you sharp, you pick up the principle. When there's only one type of text that says something is najis, there's no opposite text, then what will happen? We say it is a higher type. But if there's two type of text, some text suggests it is clean, some suggest it is dirty, then we drop it down a gear from being the heavy type of najasat to the lower type of najasat. So this najasat here, there's only one type of text, and that is the clear text that suggests it's najis. So there's nothing to, you can say, water down the seriousness of it. That's what he's saying, right? Riksun alam yu'aridhu ghayruhu. There's nothing contradicted to point to us not najis, right? Or bihada. So bihada means this type of text, or this type of najasat, where there's only one type of text that speaks about najis, there's nothing to contradict it. Or bihada yathbutu taghlidu indahu. The heavy type of najasat is established indahu by Imam Abu Hanifa, when there's only one type of text, right? Then what takhfifu bita'arudi? Yes, when do we say something is a lighter type of najasat, like the urine of an animal whose flesh is consumed? That one, when there is contradictory text, some text suggests it is clean, some text suggests it is najis. Like I told you, with regards to urine, we got a certain riwayat that says that you must be exceptionally careful with regards to urine. Be especially careful with regards to urine, because most of the azab that people get is with regards to the negligence of the urine. They don't cleanse themselves, their clothes get soiled, like the men just go urinate, just shake, come out, don't wash, and their clothes get soiled, and they pray like that, and the salat is not done, and as a result of that, they get punished. So you, on the one hand, you got a text that suggests that urine is faulty, and you got other texts like the Uraniyin, which suggests that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam permitted for them to drink because they were ill and they got cured. So you have two type of contradictory
Okay.
text.
Bache, wat
And
gaan we
when
nou
the
weer doen?
text is contradictory, you just click on I guess and silence it. Right. So you got two type of contradictory text, and as a result of the contradictory text, it drops down a stage from being the heavy type of najasa to the lower type of najasa. I showed you what is the contradiction in it, right? Here, what takhfifu بالتعارض, and takhfif is when there is contradiction. Now, interesting. وقال يجزي حتى يفحش حتى يفحش صاحبين, Imam Abu Yusuf and Imam Muhammad, they say the dung of animals, like especially edible animals, those animals that we are allowed to eat, this year, it is the lesser type of najasat. They say, okay, I want to, okay, let's just go back. They say no, this is not so strict and not so rigid, like how the heavy type of najasat, that if it is a dirham or more, it is not tolerable. They say, yeah, there should be more latitude. I'll repeat. Sahibain, Imam Abu Yusuf and Imam Muhammad, they say with regards to the dung of edible animals, there should be more latitude in it. It shouldn't be as rigid as that a dirham or more is not tolerable. Why? They say, لأن للاجتهاد فيه مساغا. They say, look here, ijtihad means to apply your mind and extrapolate. So they say that there is, and masagha, you can see there is scope. They say, look here in this masla, there is scope to apply your own mind. And you don't have to just say it is najis. Why they say? They say, look here, coming into it's coming in the next text. But the first thing, the point they're making, they say there is scope to apply your mind. It is not categorically najis. They say it is not categorically. And what's the reason why they say you're allowed to play your mind? Will come in the next text. Say, look here, now maybe this is not so easy for us to understand, but in previous time, when you live in an agrarian society, like, there wasn't solid roads, people would ride horses, and you live in like in a farm town, the sheep and the goats would be on the road, etc., which you call an agrarian society, then the chances of being soiled with this was very, very great. And then if you're going to consider to be najasat ghaliza, it will be a great inconvenience. So this is the reason. So he said there is scope. So first he's saying that there is scope to apply your own mind. And application of your own mind won't be a categoric contradiction of the text, because there's no text to say it is clearly najis. Are you with me? So see, لأن للاجتهاد فيه مساحا, because للاجتهاد, to apply your own mind, فيه, in this matter, مساحا, there is type of scope. وبهذا, and when there is this type of scope, you can make ijtihad, يثبت التخفيف عندهما, and then a lightness, a type of concession is established according to them. Right? Carry on. right, you say ولأن فيه وهي مؤثرة في خلاف الحمار لأن الأرض تنشط. Right. So what is saying they see ولأن فيه ضرورة, and I tell you why, what is the ijtihad that we can do here. They say ولأن فيه ضرورة, in it there is scope to, why? Because there is a necessity to reduce it from the higher category to the lower category. Why? لِإِمْتِلَاءِ الطُّرُقِ بِهَا, because I told you, if you're living in an agrarian society, right, where in a farm town, etc., the roads are normally filled with this type of najasat, right? And وهي مؤثرة في التخفيف, when something is full up and it's difficult to save yourself from it, and it's difficult to abstain from it, then what? Then this creates some type of ease. So in other words, وهي, the fact that it's full up on the roads, مؤثرة, it plays a role في التخفيف, in um, making it from the lighter type of najasa. Carry on. Right? بخلاف بول الحمار. In the next one I explain, okay, so you're saying that when the roads are filled up with this type of dung, najasat, etc., etc., so then it should also create a type of ease. Then in the urine of a donkey, of a mule, we say no. بخلاف بول الحمار, even though a donkey, a mule are animals that are using constantly to transport, etc. But here it is a slight difference. So contrary to the urine of a himar, a donkey. Why? لأن الأرض تنشفه. See, the earth, it dries it up, yeah, that absorbs it. So you see the urine of a donkey, of a especially now, like you're looking at the desert areas, the dry areas. So once the donkey urinates, that water it soaks down into the ground. So and maybe after hour, 2 hour, it's dry and it's missing there all the time. So the chances of you getting soil with it is very, very minimal. And Shariat only creates expense and leeway when there's a lot of difficulty. I told you the principle. إذا ضاق الأمر اتسع. إذا ضاق, when a matter becomes very, very difficult, then Sharia creates some type of ease and expense in it. So yeah, it's not very difficult because it is the chances of getting soiled with the urine is not so common. I mentioned to you before, and I mentioned again to you. Sometimes maybe the actual masla is not so relevant. You think now in your mind, yeah, we're not interacting with donkeys and cows and sheep, but there are so many usul that are understood behind it. And as you go progress through the kitab, you can understand this usul, you can apply them, inshallah. And that is what we speak about faqahat, being a faqih. So, yeah, Imam Hanifa is saying that that necessity is not found in the urine of a donkey, of a mule, because it soaks into the ground, is absorbed, and it disappears. So there's no need to have any type of concession with regard to that. Right. Okay, carry on. Right. Okay. Carry on. Sorry, carry on. Right. Okay. Let me first explain to you what is happening there before we read it and put it on. See, Imam Abu Hanifa is saying that the dung of an animal, a sheep, goat, etc., it is najasat ghalidha. It is a heavy type of najasat, right? So there shouldn't be any type of concession. If it's a dirham or more, then uh, the clothes, the shoes, whatever should be rendered najis, right? Are you following? Then Saibain said, look here, especially if you're living in agrarian society, farm town, whatever, people are moving with the oxen, the people are moving. So the chances of getting swallowed is very, very great. And because it's very great, so I told you it will be difficult. إذا ضاق الأمر اتسع. When the matter becomes difficult, it creates some type of expense in the matter, right? So that is Sahibain's reasoning. So here Imam Hanifa is giving his reasoning. He said, look here, we agree with you. We agree with you that when the dung is abundant, etc., etc., it will create difficulty. But we have already created some type of leeway in this matter. And what is the leeway? If you were with us from the beginning, remember the first masla. It says there, the first masla we done. Um, let me find it here. وإن أصاب الخف نجاسة لها جرم كالروث والأزرة والدم والمني فجف فدلكه بالأرض جاز. That if you got a durable material like a khuf, like a leather sock, a boot, or a leather boots, whatever, and then the najasat that has mass afflicts it, and right, and then it dries, then you just have to scratch it. So we're saying, look here, we agree with you that it is a common affliction, right? But there's already a concession for it, and the concession is in the form of you don't have to wash it, you just have to scratch it thoroughly. So there's no need for an added concession. Are you with me? That's what he's saying. I'll repeat. So we agree with Sahibain, yes, living in an agrarian society like most people used to live previously until 100 years ago before the Industrial Revolution came. When did the Industrial Revolution take place? In the beginning of the 20th century. So before the Industrial Revolution, before people moved to the cities, They used to live in the countryside, they used to live in the farm towns. We agree with you. There is a need for concession. Yes, we agree with you, but we say the concession has already manifested itself. And what is the concession? The concession came in the form that you just have to thoroughly scratch it clean. There's no need for an added concession that we have to downgrade droppings from Najaasat Ghaliza, from the heavy type of Najaasat to the lighter type of Najaasat. Are you with me? See there. Qulna, we say, al-daruratu fi na'ali, that the necessity of creating some type of latitude fi ni'ali in the shoes, right? It's in the shoes. Al-daruratu, because you don't walk on your hands or you don't crawl in the road, whatever. You're going to walk with your shoes. That's what we're saying. Al-daruratu fi ni'ali. The zarurat is in your shoes. وقد أثرت في التخفيف مرة, and it is already that ضرورة أثرت في التخفيف, it already created some تخفيف latitudes مرة once. And what is that latitude? حتى تطهر بالمسح, like I told you, that if it is a leather, it's a durable material, and it's najasat that has mass, etc., then تطهر بالمسح, it will come clean with a thorough scratch, right? فتكفي مؤونتها. So, what we're saying is, it's mu'unatuha, its juice has already been done by saying, we can say by saying that you just have to scratch it thoroughly, then its due has already been done. Its due, that is, we've already paid attention to the fact that it needs some latitude, and we gave expression to this. Right, read the next one. Yeah, فتكتفي معونتها. So we say that. So فتكتفي معونتها, you can say its due has already been done, right? In the form of the concession of just scratching it. Carry on. Yeah. Here I say in Sibarat, yeah, interesting that according to us, there's no difference between the dropping of an animal that is halal to eat and an animal that is not halal to eat, both. So in simple words, what we're saying here, that the dropping of a lion, the dropping of a tiger, the dropping of a cheetah, and the dropping of a horse, the dropping of a cow is the same, exact same law. It is najasate ghaliza. If the afflicted area is more than a dirham, you have to wash it. And if it is a durable thing like a leather sock, etc., etc., then a thorough cleansing or rubbing or scratching of it will be sufficient. Right, carry on. So, ولا فرق بين معقول لحمي وغير معقول لحمي. There is no difference between that which his flesh is eaten and the one which his flesh is not eaten. Right, carry on. ووافقهما في المعقول, and he coincided with them في المعقول. He agreed with them. Yeah, ولا فرق بين معقول اللحم وغ... What you got there? Oh, that makes more sense. Yeah, they try to ask it best. So what you say? ولا فرق بين معقول اللحم والمعقول. What you got to answer that? Yeah, sure. Perfect. Yeah, this doesn't make. So yeah, so see they saying ولا فرق بين معقول اللحم وغير معقول اللحم. So there's no difference. There's a animal that you're allowed to eat or you're not allowed to eat. Although to us sometimes, if you look at the dropping of the animal you eat, like you look at the cow, you look at, there's hardly anything there. There's just grass in there. It looks like sometimes, and when you're taking it dry, it looks like dry grass. But from the Shari'i point of view, there's no difference. Whether it's, so he's saying, ولا فرق بين معقول لحمي وغير معقول لحمي, right? That's the first part. Is in saying, which is not in my kitab, وزفر رحمه فرق بينهما. Imam Zufar differentiates. So probably what he's saying, that Imam Zufar is saying that the animal that you are not allowed to eat, like a lion, tiger, whatever, you probably say that that is droppings is najasate ghalida. And you say, right? So you say that is najasate ghalida, and you'll probably say the one that which you eat it is najasate khififa, right? So فوافق أبا حنيفة رحمه الله في غير معقول اللحم. So he agrees with Imam Abu Hanifa. Jazakallah, I mean, that's making sense. So he agrees with Imam Abu Hanifa, right? فوافق أبا حنيفة رحمه الله تعالى في غير معقول اللحم. He agrees with Imam Abu Hanifa in that which is not eaten, that is najasat غليظة, right? ووافقهما في المعقول, and he agrees with who? With صاحبين, because remember صاحبين said the droppings etc is najasat خفيفة, right? So ووافقهما في المعقول, and that which you eat it, he agrees that it is what? نجاسة خفيفة. Is it clear? You got it right? Carry on. البلوى. Yeah. So remember till here we were discussing, we said according to Imam Abu Hanifa, what we said, that the even if you eat the animal, it's a edible animal. We say edible, we meant from Islamic point of view, the dropping is najasat khaliza, right? And then we said Imam Sahibain said that, see, in the Abi Hanifata لأن النص الوارد فيه right, وقال هذا وبهذا right, تخفيف الدر. وقال, they too said it is what? Yeah, they said Simon يجزي حتى يفحش. That Simon said it's najasa khafifa. Now this is building upon that. We're building. See, أنه لما دخل الريا, when Imam Muhammad he entered the place called Ray, ورأى البلوى. Balwa is also, I told you, something is a common affliction. And I told you there's also a principle called umumul balwa in your fiqh. When something is very common affliction and it creates undue a difficulty for people, right? And we did mention something before about this. So every time something comes here, Google one, I don't know where it comes from, right? So no, it's not. It's not from them. It's from somewhere. Yeah, it is. Okay. Right. So based on the same thing, when something is a common affliction, it affects a large amount of people as a principle, and people are seriously inconvenienced by it, then it creates some type of latitude. So same thing. And now lama dakhala raya, when Imam Muhammad entered this place, Ray, Transoxania, wara al balwa, and he saw the common affliction that people are being seriously inconvenienced by the abundance, right? Right? After he gave a fatwa, أن الكثير الفاحشة, that أن الكثير الفاحشة لا يمنع أيضا, even if it's a lot, it will not stop your salah, right? Why? Because people are going to be inconvenienced, right? وقاسوا عليها طين بخارى, and then the ulama came and they said, look, in Bukhara the roads are also so full of dung, and obviously if you're going to say if there's a dirham or more and you have to wash up in it, it's going to easily convenience people. So they apply the logic of the soil of Bukhara. وَإِنَّ ذَلِكَ رُجُوعُهُ, and what to that is رُجُوعُهُ is his retraction fil khuffi yurwa. It's narrated that the same thing he applied with a normal khuf, even if it touches your khuf, etc. Then until it is, even if it's a lot, right, there will be some type of latitude because of the common affliction. Okay, we stop there. We'll continue tomorrow, inshallah.